it's so good that I get to, thank you for this opportunity that I get to share my story. 10 years ago, I can't believe it. 10 years ago, for the first time, I really found myself meeting Jesus.
10 years ago today, right?
10 years ago
Easter
today.
weekend.
Easter weekend, 10 years ago. Jesus always knew me from the day I was born. But I never knew him. He never left me. He was always there. He always loved me no matter what. So we have a family holiday home in a town called Jeffreys Bay, J-Bay. And there's a church in J-Bay called Victory Church. And 10 years ago, we never really grew. Childhood was hard. A lot of stuff happened in my life. I was broken. I was angry. I was anxious. Interesting fact, I had dreadlocks. If you don't believe me, come ask me.
Picture with dreadlocks.
I even have a little, I saved one of my favorite dreadlocks. I still have it in a Ziploc bag because no one believed me. I identified as a Rastafarian. I most probably showed up in church. My parents forced me to go to church because it was Easter, and that stage of our life, we only really went to church on Easter and Christmas, which probably was as high as a kite walking into that church. And no shoes. And I stood there and I looked at all these happy people. There were just so many happy people. And Victory Church has a gap year program called Victory Gap Year. And there were so many young people up front, happy, cappy, worshipping. And I was like, what's this? Anyways, I was in my last year of high school, and my dad, he's quite a business-oriented man, and he kept nagging, Sim, what are you going to do with your life? Sim, what are you going to do with your life? And I was like, I don't know, I just want to live in the forest and smoke weed. I don't want to do anything else. Anyways, and then so when I walked into that church, it was something that when I saw these people, I saw freedom staring, I saw freedom looking at me, and I knew I was so trapped in my ways. I knew either I could partner with this Jesus, or I can fight against this Jesus for the rest of my life, but I wasn't ready yet. And so this girl approached me. She's also from George. And she looked at me and she's like, Sim, I recognize you. And I was like, what are you doing here? And why is there so many people? And I was like, can we go for coffee? She said, yeah, sure. After church, we went for coffee. She told me all about this gap year program. And I thought, this is my plan. I'm going to tell my dad I want to go to Bible school. Then he's going to stop nagging me or what I want to do with my life. Anyways, long story short, went to my dad. Dad, I want to do this gap year. He cried. I was like, yes. All my prayers, we'll pay, we'll send you. And anyways, this was April. Gap year started that next year, January. And it's like my spirit knew I had 8 months to push everything in the red. 8 months where I did many things. Because I knew from that moment that I only had 8 months left before this old man was going to die and this new Simone was going to be resurrected. And so I remember the night before gap year, there was a spiritual battle happening in me. I remember crying, I was vomiting, I was so I didn't want to go, because I was like, I know tomorrow when I step into this new season, my life is going to change forever. God was not going to waste time. By this time, just to give me context, I only knew one worship or Christian song, that was Oceans. I only knew one Bible verse. I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength, because my mom used to say that all the time. And I didn't even have a Bible. My aunt bought me my first Bible. Anyways, I showed up at gap year, very broken, didn't want to be there. I was like, no, I had to sign a contract. No smoking, no drinking, no relationships. My dad, I remember saying to me, are you sure you want to do this? It's like, well, I don't know, I don't want to do this, but here I go. Anyways, we went on this orientation camp. It was 3 weeks. They take all your technology away. You're dropped off in the middle of the bush. And it was hard. I was chewing grass most of the time because I just had all the, met Stefan. He was this perfect boy from Belito. I had dreadlocks and didn't shave my leg hair. Anyway. And he was not attracted to me at all. Anyways, back to Jesus. This is about Jesus. This is not about Stefan. On this camp, I remember so clearly going, well, I really, God, from the time I was born, God has loved me. He has chosen me. No matter what I do can separate me from his love. Nothing. So either I can stop right now, and I can stop, and so in the Rastafarian religion, the longer your dreadlocks, the more powerful you are in society. And so when a Rastafarian used to be taken into slavery, the first thing they would do is shave off their head, because their hair represented their strength. And so I was like, well, Samson had dreadlocks. I should read Samson. That was the first Bible story I ever read. On this camp, I decided if I go back into society, the first thing I'm going to do is shave off my dreadlocks, because I want to let go of that willingness to do this all through my ability, my strengths. I was raised that I had to take responsibility. It's me. For the first time ever, I had to trust someone, God, that He needs to take over my life. And so went back to J-Bay after this 3-week camp, shaved off my hair, and that's probably the first time I experienced freedom. So I want to read this because this is important. Otherwise, I'm going to be waffling. By the way, it still took me, so it's been 10 years in the making. I only got baptized in 2016 because I really wanted to make sure this Jesus thing was real. And I just wrote this down. I found freedom. The day I shaved off my hair, I found freedom. Freedom to discover Him. Freedom to discover His love for me. Freedom to discover that I'm so much more than what the world thought I could be. Freedom to be courageous. Freedom to be myself. Freedom found in forgiveness. I think that's one thing that tied me up. I was so angry at this world, at my situation, at my childhood, at my parents, at everything that was happening. And I knew that when I look at the cross, I know that God just didn't die for my sin, but he now I can forgive. God was always there for me. Freedom to love others. Freedom to live a life of surrender, completely drenched in grace. Living in freedom for Christ in me has opened up a world of adventure, full of opportunities where I can show people Jesus every day by simply just being myself. A big part of who I am is people always ask me, Sim, you're so joyful. Sim, like when you walk into the room, like you're so full of light. And it was never like that. Because that moment where I decided, no longer me, but you through me, Jesus. Jesus, only Jesus. That's where I can surrender, and that's where I can go, okay, God, you can shine your light through me now. So every day, you've taken up my cross for me. I can just yield to you. I can just say, your yoke is easy, your burden is light. And so fixing my eyes on Him, and He'll do it constantly through me. Anyways, that's it.
Beautiful.
Here I am.